Well, howdy ho, good neighbor. Today, we're flying high above Wilsey Wood. I want to say middle school. You think I would know that by now, but Wilsey Wood School, how about that? And today, Wilsey Wood School is being reborn. That's right. There was a 3-story building here at one time, and now the 3-story building is gone, and the new buildings are taking form. Literally, they are forming these buildings as we speak. So, they have, looks like to me, 3 structures here. They have the wooden structure, and then they have the big metal structure in the back. And I might be wrong, but that could be some kind of gymnasium or assembly hall. It looks like something with big wide open spaces, so that could be a new gymnasium. I'm just guessing, but cafeteria maybe? I don't know. Combination. But there it is, the Wilsey Wood School, and you can see right there that the crane was not operating on this day. I thought I would try to get the crane operating on this day, but nope, the wind was blowing too much, and to tell you the truth, I do not know if that crane was scheduled. But there it is, the foundation of the new Wilsey Wood School. That's exactly where they were installing all those pile drivers. If you see in the video that I put back a few weeks ago, they just had that pile driver all around here. So they were doing a lot of work to prep this site. So now comes this phase of laying down the rebar. And I will tell you what, this has got to be one of the hardest jobs on a job site, is the rebar installer. I think that's what you call them, our rebar technician, maybe? I'm not sure. We always change the names to make it sound better, but okay, rebar technician. But yeah, they have to bend down and pull and push and lift heavy rebar. I would say that's probably one of the hardest jobs on the job site. And you can see they're always in the elements, in the sun, in the rain. And yeah, that's not an easy job. So my hard hat goes off to all the rebar workers on the job site. They do not get enough credit, and that thing has to be tight. So, if you've been to Wilsey Wood School, you probably ran a couple laps on this track for your gym class. Well, there's your new gym, I would imagine. So that is a complete look of the Wilsey Wood Middle School. Now, I don't think it's in high school, and I will have to get back to you on that, but this seems like a big project for middle schoolers. Boy, I don't even know if you could remember. We used to call that junior high school. Yeah, you had elementary school, and then junior high school, then high school. So now they call it middle school. Well, there's another unsung hero of the job site, is the framer. That's right. The framer is out in the elements, and he has to be very careful not to fall through the roof or even have a wall fall on them. So the framer, I take my hat off to you too. or should I say my hard hat. Yep, they have to lift those walls up. They build them on the ground like that, and they tip them up. It looks like right about here I was getting attacked by birds. And as you know, birds and drones do not mix. So there they are. Oh boy, oh boy. So whenever you run into birds, just give them their space and fly up higher and get away. That's what I say. Yeah, I don't want any trouble with birds. For some reason, they do not like drones. And I've only had one bird strike, and that was scary. And that's probably all I really want is one bird strike. But you never know. When you fly these drones, you are taking a lot of chances with birds or bullets or Karens or Darrens, or just a lot of people do not like drones, especially birds. Well, there's a good look at how small that man is, or should I say that those men, because this is going to be a big job site. Now, with them driving all those pylons into the ground, you think this would be another 3-story building. They tore down a 3-story building here. But will that be another 3-story? I don't know. But there it is. It looks like it's going to be one big building, so it could be a big one. So I'm curious to watch this grow. I'm glad they left that little tree next to that old original building. And they're probably going to gut the inside of that building out and make that pretty again too. So, looks like they probably have to redo this roof too. This roof has seen better days. But, yeah, that's the old Wilsey Wood School roof. And there's somebody in the basket. I wonder if he's tied off. I hope he's tied off. Is he? I don't know. Oh yeah, looks like he's tied off. You gotta be tied off when you're in those boom lifts. They'll buck you out like a horse. And this guy, he looks like he's tied off too. He's got his safety gear on, so it's always good to have safety first, but I really don't think it should be safety first, or we would never get done. It should almost be safety third or fourth. I don't know. That's, I guess, why men don't live as long as women. They think that way. Well, you can see there's a lot of people waiting for this school to get done. And whenever you work on a school project, well, I've been on a school project and it is not fun because the time deadline is real. These kids, they get out of school at summertime, and in wintertime they want to get back into school, and that school better be built. So there's no time for excuses when you're building a school, because the whatever time deadline they're on, it is built in concrete, and it is not going to change because kids are not going to start school late. So, well, there it is, that old crane, one more time, just sitting empty, and those birds about ready to attack me. Now, if you ever have a crane operator on your job, you got to be prepared to pay a lot of money. The crane operator is the most highest paid person on the job, and probably has the most to lose if something happens and to go wrong. So, yep, always be prepared to have the crane operator working and not have them sitting, because that's a lot of money. All right, well, I've rambled on a little too long for this Wilsey Wood Middle School foundation pouring adventures. That's right, they've already poured a couple foundations and got a couple building skeletons up and they're ready to go again. Well, if you ever worked on this job or ever lived in Alameda, well, you should really realize how good you have it here, because it is such a beautiful town and such a great place to live with the weather and the people. And the new school, Will C. Wood School. And by the way, Will C. Wood was the inventor of high school sports. That's right. So if you wonder who invented high school sports, that would be Will C. Wood. I always thought that was a weird name for a teacher, well, Will C. Wood, but everything's weird nowadays. All right, Will C. Wood, the inventor of the high school sports. Well, as always, I'd like to thank you again for coming along with me on these Will C. Wood foundation pouring adventures. That's right, this school's coming along quick. Not as quick as I'd like, but it's coming. All right. You know the drill. Peace, love, and all that hippie jazz. Bye-bye, everybody. P.S. Stay tuned, because I'm going to keep filming Will C. Wood School until its final day and kids are back in class. All right. You know the drill. Peace, love, and all that hippie jazz. Bye-bye, everybody.